Hello, hello, hello. My name is NicholassRivas. I talk about politics and stuff. And today we're going to be talking about the movie Don't Worry, Darling. So I saw it and I wanted to make a video about it kind of immediately after the movie came out. But unfortunately, I feel I was going to say something negative. I wanted to kind of sit on it more because I walked out of it very disappointed. I had very high expectations because Olivia Wilde is, I think, a pretty good director. I think she has a great vision, even though she hasn't made that much movies. I think she had a pretty cool twist when it came to Booksmart, like doing the super bad thing, but from a female's perspective, and it was fun. It was such a good movie with great talent. I've heard she's always been a pleasure to work with. Like she seems like she knows industry, and I think seeing the Don't Worry Darling movie, and I could definitely see that either she has a lot of talent or some really good resources because the sets were tremendous, the shots beautiful, her cast tremendous. Like I can't see a world where this movie would have been bad, and it wasn't. I think it was okay, but that was the issue, is that it was okay. When I wanted to come into this movie with high expectations, I think I goofed myself up, and I definitely goofed myself up when I saw the after and the interviews and the discussion of the movie. Olivia Wilde, of course, not talking about the controversy. Olivia Wilde, there was controversy with the set. Actors didn't like each other, yada yada. Besides that, um, Olivia Wilde looked at this movie as like a feminist perspective of women's pleasure. You know, women never really have a sex scene from their perspective. It's usually missionary and one woman, and one guy, and they just do it for 2 seconds. Rarely do you see a woman, director really divulge into the sex scenes that the male counterparts have always done throughout film history. So when you have somebody like Olivia Wilde, I was like, oh, cool, this is gonna be a cool, take that we've never seen. I mean, I've never seen. I've never been a woman having sex with a male, so yeah, let me see it. It may sound like perverted, but the scenes felt very disgusting. Not because of the sex scenes themselves. It was nice to see a woman get pleasure. I keep sounding like I'm hinged upon it, like because it's a sex thing. I don't want to spoil it, so I'm gonna spoil it. Spoiler alert! This is spoiler. You have to leave. When you find out the twist of the movie, that they were in a simulation, involuntarily by their boyfriends, that's not a pleasurable sex scene to watch. And if that was her goal, cool. Maybe she didn't want to spoil it, but I walked into the movie hearing this is a feminist movie about women taking back their bodies and sexuality, and of course the struggle, the journey is her taking her body back. But seeing those sex scenes and saying that those are feminist, like that's the furthest thing from feminism. Those women were raped. Those women were fucking raped, and I I, I can see I can see me digesting the movie a little bit more if she didn't say this. Honestly, like I feel like I shot myself in the foot. But man, I don't want to see no woman get raped. I don't want to see a woman like she doesn't know that this is conscious. And you would think somebody like as pro, I guess Me Too, as Olivia Wilde, she would tackle this topic a little bit better. You know what I mean? Like the whole controversy of the set was because I believe it was Shia LaBeouf had some allegations against him. He was supposed to play the original boyfriend, counterpart, husband guy that Harry Styles eventually took. Who, by the way, people are giving him a lot of shit. I think he did great. I think he's a pretty good actor. I think he was good in Dunkirk. I think he was good in this movie. Now, of course, he's a celebrity, so they're picking him over, I'm sure, someone who is more classically trained. But I think for the part, he did fine. I had no issues with him. But ultimately, I did not feel comfortable watching the movie. I did not think that she hit her premise right. I mean, the movie itself, like besides all the inner workings that I had, the more philosophical thoughts that I was feeling, I think the movie was fine. I think it did its job, and I think it was an interesting movie, and a great perspective to finally see. But I think the story was sloppy. I think the characters were a little annoying, and they didn't really hit the mark for what I believe she was trying to do. I mean, I don't think I walked out of the movie thinking it sucked. I think it was a fine movie. I think she did really good, and I like what she did with the premises. Like I think she did really well with the story of somebody who is trapped in the simulation, and the story of the incel. Like I don't want to go too deep into the story itself because I think the story was kind of hit or miss for me. But the ideology of a woman taking back her body didn't feel there. it didn't feel like she hit the mark where she needed to when it came to showing off a woman um, who is I don't know, I guess struggling with the male incel world, her boyfriend. I think it's genuinely because of um, the the breakdown by Olivia Wilde's script, or whoever wrote the script. The story contradicted itself. I think if you had a story of, I don't know, maybe this was a real world and they were in this like bubble of sorts. I think the simulation part just made me asking a lot of questions. Like if they were struggling for money, why would he then struggle more with her, and have this like, oh, income lost? Because you know he's this like incel, the Harry Styles character, who is really struggling. So why make it struggle more? Is it just to take back power? I like these themes. I just feel like it's kind of done sloppy, and I think the simulation aspect, I didn't really like it, but it's more story. When I think about the philosophical points of the movie, I think of this woman taking back her body, and I'm like, okay, that's cool. That's a cool perspective, but to call it feminist, I don't think it's a feminist movie. I mean, it's a feminist movie in the case that she is trying to take back her body, but to watch the sex scenes and hear her rejoice, just again harping on this point, but it's just what I hinged upon. You know, it's my shoe moment from Jordan Peele's Nope. I definitely, I definitely just couldn't stop focusing on it, thinking like this is what I mean. Of course, at the time of the movie, you're like, oh wow, this is a crazy cookie sex scene. Like, oh my god, what are we doing here? So when the twist is revealed, the whole time you're just left with like a bad taste in your mouth. I don't know. I definitely want to see more from Olivia Wilde. I like her. I like her direction. I like her style. I like her vision. I definitely think she needs to work on a lot of things. You know, like I know there were some times where I was looking at character motivations and I was like, this is kind of weird and funky. But either way, I think she did as best she could. I think with the material, I want her to be with a better script writer. I wonder if she wrote this movie. That's something I should have looked up. Also, I think the caricature of the women who knew about the simulation really ruined the feminist ideology too. I didn't feel like the empowerment of her counterparts. They all felt kind of brainwashed. It felt like she was saying like this woman is their savior, and she's gonna break them out the simulation. Like, I don't know, that didn't feel pretty clean to me either. Seeing her, I mean they were all forced upon this, right? They were all slaves to this system that they were thrown to. So I like that. I like this story, and I think the more I think about it, the more I'm like, I want it to be this way, but then I feel like it's another way. You know, not and I don't think purposefully. I think she kind of goofed, showing that ending. I think showing some of her character's motivations, like Incel Harry, his mindset of like, you're working a lot, so I should just not work. Like, what? Like, I know he was unemployed and he was just having issues, but wouldn't he just pick up like a job on the side? But I guess that's like shows the issue of these men of like, oh, they'll rather have a shitty simulation world than pick up a job and have their woman be the breadwinner. But I think that was just done sloppily, because then he struggles with money. I'm going in circles with this one. This one is killing me. This is why I the more I think about the movie, the more it frustrates me, because I think I see a really good premise, but then I see a movie that doesn't really hit the mark where I kind of want it to. And I know it's felt selfish on my end, but I just felt like I was kind of getting the story and I was kind of relating to it. And my partner, I felt like related to more. So part of me thinks, oh yeah, there is a story here that maybe I'm just missing. But the more I think about it, I just don't get it. And I just don't like the motivations. And I don't like the way the characters were presented in this kind of grotesque way. So I don't think it's something you would call feminist. I don't think it's something that you would feel comfortable enough to even call a really good movie. I think it's a fine movie. And I think that's where it suffers. I think I could look past it if it felt like, oh, this is at least a cool ideology that I can really understand and it's thought provoking, or it's a really good movie. And I think it kind of missed the mark on both, which is very disappointing, because I think she has a great career in directing. You know, we'll definitely see what she does with the next ones. Yeah, so I think it's good to end it here. I'll let it play. Love you all.
Flag returned. Enemy flag returned.
Our team took the enemy flag. Third degree burns for everybody. Power items inbound.
Enemy Spartans closing in.
They've taken our flag. Power items on the field. We have eyes on the enemy flag carrier.
Double kill.
We have eyes on the enemy flag carrier.
Flag returned.
Let's get the heck out of here.
Flag captured.
Foul! An ally took their flag.
Flag returned. Enemy flag returned. Whiplash.
Grapple shot obtained. Power